Yeah, we're definitely spoiling Squid
We're gonna
Game.
spoil Squid Game and Vincenzo. Is that the name?
Well, I was just gonna say that I feel like Vincenzo, a lot of people had to have seen it by now.
Oh
I was just
wow.
gonna say there was a point in the drama where they killed off a family character, and I was like, why?
Oh yeah. Don't give me any more detail than
I was just like, why?
that.
That's all I had to. I was just like, why? They didn't
I
deserve
was
it.
like,
And then in
anime to
this,
me.
I got to episode. Well, I got to the last episode, the second to last episode, and I was like,
That was
really?
the second to last.
It was
Are we talking
probably
about
the
the same thing?
second for Squid Game.
Like
Second to
whose death are we talking about?
the
There's a lot of
girl.
deaths.
The girl.
Oh
Sabyuk, I think
no,
was her
that
name.
last
The North
episode.
Korean.
It was the last episode when he came home and his mom was dead, and I was just like,
Oh yeah, that one too. But
of
I was talking
course.
about Sabyuk, her dying in the game. Like it was the last three of them. If they had stopped playing, they could have gone home, all three of them, without the money. And
Why
like,
would
yeah, it would have sucked. But I looked at her little brother in the orphanage, and I was like, he doesn't even know. He doesn't deserve this.
I knew she was gonna
I knew
die?
I knew everyone was gonna die. Like that's just the way the show was set up. I just was upset because it got to the very last episode and she was already injured, and then he slit that the one guy.
Sang Woo when he
Yeah,
man,
Sungwoo.
you know what? I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start with that man. I just felt like the way the movie or the series, it's not a movie, it's a series, which will probably have a season 2 with the way it left off. But if anyone, it was just like, I just felt like we all knew the main character was going to win. That's the point, right? We just knew he was going to win. I just felt like out of everybody, out of the last 3 that were there, I kind of just wished, Sangwoo won. Because at least he had the most desire for that money, and he wouldn't have been as depressed after.
I think for him though, the importance of, well, I guess before we go too much further into this, we should actually do our spiel.
Oh, okay. Well,
We never did it. So, cut really quick. Hi guys, this is Bingu Choom and K-pop tunes, and we're back for another episode. And instead of talking K-pop this week, in case you didn't get the gist of the first however many minutes this is, we're talking K-dramas this week. Well, a single
dun, dun,
K-drama.
dun. The only K drama you might only hear about because I don't really watch them like that.
Yeah, which is why I was like, we're taking this opportunity and we're going with it. So we're reviewing Squid Game today.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, it's a drama. So our whole spiel of everything still counts. But remember, it's a drama, and this is our opinions. But just if we mispresent any information or give you the wrong facts or anything in this episode, which I don't
Or
think we
say the
will,
names wrong.
or
I'm
say
so
the name wrongs or
sorry.
anything, just keep in mind we're doing this for fun. We are not professionals. We don't claim to know everything about what we talk about,
I
but
haven't taken Korean in so long, guys. I'm
but
sorry.
this is definitely more of a fun episode. We're not presenting any facts to you, but just keep in mind that if we say anything wrong or we misrepresent anything, just let us know kindly. But we're here to have fun.
Yeah.
That was
And
a complete
yes. Also, I'm Bingu also now.
And I'm Choom, also known as Reina. That was a mess. We're just so excited about this drama. We're sorry.
And and before we even jump into it again, let's do it in order. Let's start from the beginning, middle, and end.
Okay.
I guess.
But But I want to backtrack really quick and say that I do think the importance of Sengu not winning was in comparison to Gihyun,
Mm-hmm.
his his need and want for that money was a lot more selfish, I think, than Gihyun's was.
Oh no, that's not. I'm not saying like.
Well, you were like, why didn't he win? He'd be less
No, no,
depressed.
no, 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 no. I'm saying because I get why he won. He was like a good guy. He played fair. He was literally the best of the best. He didn't want to hurt anybody, and he ultimately didn't kill anybody. He, he didn't do it. Like he deserved it. It was just like, what else is left? He had nothing left, so he was just existing. You know, he didn't do anything. He wasn't doing anything at all. He was just the money sat in his account
For a year. Yeah.
because
But I mean,
what's the point? So I so
I
when I
don't
think
blame
of
him.
that, no, I'm not saying I blame him for that, but I'm saying
He's
like,
fucking traumatized.
yeah, but if you consider if we're doing this based off people's desires and what the game is literally ultimately about, it's really playing off greed and how badly people want things. Like he he would have been he would have been messed up, and this he would always sleep at night knowing he killed a bunch of people, but he needed them. He was the only one of the few that was super driven till the very end. It made him crazy, but he would have been in less debt. And I don't know. It just makes. I just thought that was interesting for like comparing the two of them. And really comparing anyone else that was playing the game, like they just really needed it. It was, he had Gihan had all that money, and he had, I mean, all of his problems were basically solved with that money. But when you don't even have an outlet that's close to you, like a family member, to give it to or to help out, the reason why you're in the game.
But the thing with that, I think that's important to note is if Sangwoo on the other hand had won that money, I don't
Oh
think he would
no,
have
I'm
given
just
any of it
saying
to his
that
mom.
he would have been using all the money. Like he would have.
Yeah. But I think that was like one thing like you were saying like Gihyun didn't have anybody at the end like his mom had died. I vice versa though like in retrospect I don't think Sangwoo would have helped his mom at all. Like he would have just kept all that money whereas Gihyun even though he had nothing left at the end, he still found ways to give back. Like he paid off his debt to Sangwoo and his mom and then he found a place for Saebyuk's little brother to live and like he still used the money in a less selfish manner whereas Sangwoo
Yeah,
would have just used it selfishly.
yeah. I'm just saying like the desires were different. And he just gave it all away
Yeah,
to be
but
in
I
the same
mean like
situation that he was always in.
well I was thinking I don't know he chose to be in that same situation though which I get because like at the end he was traumatized. I wouldn't want to touch that that's blood money. Like I don't want that. I would just
I
rather be in
feel
debt
like if I
still
was just at that point,
where like at, when he started using the money, I don't think he per se chose to still stay in that same like situation, giving the money away. He had how much
I don't
money?
know the trans. I
He
don't know
had
the
a
won.
lot
I
to
mean,
do,
won
a
to
lot with.
American. I just saw a lot of zeros, and I was like, "That's a lot of money. That's a lot." I just know that's a lot. It's a lot.
I think after that year though of him just like being depressed about it, I think after that year when he started to actually use the money, I don't think he was in like the same situation. Like I think he paid off all his debts. He gave Savyuk's brother a place to live. Like
I
I think he
mean,
still had a bunch of money after that left over.
he's going back to the game anyway, but he's going back to the
No, he's
game.
going back to stop the game.
They're gonna put him back in that game.
I don't think they'll put him back in because
But
that
if they
goes
don't do
well that goes against
the role,
the rules, yeah. And like the whole thing like they were like everybody is equal here, and they killed those cheaters, like the doctor and everybody. The whole point of the game was like these people have
I'm just trying to
been
think of how.
wronged and are in the same situation, and we're trying to create a fair and equal opportunity for them.
And this is why I don't
And
want another season.
so I don't think if they do have another season, I feel like they might not. I don't really know. They could go both ways. Like it ended in a way where they'll probably do another season, but it also ended in a way where I don't think anybody would think twice if they didn't ever come out with the second
I
season.
just don't.
But I don't think he will be back in the game if there is a second
Then what's
season,
the point of this
because
season?
that takes away the well, him trying to stop the games. If
But
they made a
the whole
second
point of this
season,
being super popular was because of the games. Like as a viewer.
well, yeah, but if they go with the second season, it would probably be on a focus of like this is the history of the game, and Gi-hyun is trying to stop it because
It turns out Jun Ho is alive. He fell off that cliff, but he's still here. He just went up on shore and somebody saved him. And now he's going back to reason with his brother again. And yeah, that's it. I just don't want another season.
I
Think
don't
it
either,
ended
but I think
perfectly.
it I think it did too. I was just saying like there's no way that he would go back into the games. Like they would not let him, like with the way that they answered the phone and when they realized that it was him and they were just like just take the money, get on the plane, go see your daughter sort of deal.
They said, I'm gonna need you to get on the plane. We're tracking your spending. We know where you are. Get on the plane.
Literally. So that's why I don't think they would ever let him back in the game because one, he knows all of the games, and two, it's like they know that it's him. They wouldn't let him back
And
in.
then Ilsan Nam is dead. So what's the point? I don't know.
Well,
I
because
just
there's still the other rich people.
I know. And can I just
It's
say
like a worldwide thing, according to
I
all
just
the documents that Jung Ho found.
I just want to say the Americans they really cheapened it up. Okay, putting them in there. I didn't. I don't know if I was the only one that felt that way. Me and my nieces and my nephew, we were just like, we get why you're here. I mean, you're doing your part because it's working. But I was like, I don't like these guys. That means they're
Yeah,
doing a good
same.
job. I was just like, I just didn't want. They didn't need to like. They would have been really cool if all they did was stand there and look, you know,
Yeah.
and not comment on anything. You had Potbelly Pig dude that was creepy.
That was just
It was great. They did a great
weird.
job, but like, wow, I didn't want it.
No. His weird Asian fetish too though.
Yeah,
That
I
was
mean, that
just
whole thing was.
I was like, why? This is
I was like, you are definitely the type for this. Like, you are checking all the boxes when you're doing the things that you're doing, unfortunately. And then the moment they showed up and he was like starting a drink, I'm like, I know you're one of those drunks.
the
You are like the worst of the worst. And then he was like, come to the room with me, sit down with me. And I was like, no. And he was like, no, I have to serve. I can't do this. And he's like, you can sit down. We're actually going to go back to my room. Like, what made you think? What made you think? I don't know. Rich people are something else. They just think they obviously can get away with stuff in the show. That's what it's. Because I mean, the game has been here forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Anyway, from the beginning. Because we literally are talking about just the end.
Yep. So from the beginning,
I guess like
we
I guess from the beginning, like what was your favorite game to watch?
um
Or I guess not favorite. What was the game that you're like, oh my god, I can't watch this. It's too much.
I don't know. None of them really like I don't know. None of the games were like to the point where I was just like I can't like gave me like Saw vibes, for example. I wasn't like, "Oh my god, I can't watch this." There was a lot of like anxiety building up with the tug of war one just because of the way the teams were set up. I was like, "Oh fuck. This isn't going to go well." And then when I saw them all go splat, I was like, "Great."
Oh, ghost.
They all went splat. I was like, "Oh, great." That was the only game that I was really like, uh-oh. Just because, like, there was a bunch of anxiety building up of just what's going to happen to this team.
Mine was the candy game.
The
What is that?
honeycomb one.
What is that called? What,
Honeycomb.
the honeycomb?
Yeah,
It was
it's
that
a
game.
honeycomb.
It was that. That was the game. I was like, I can't sit down. I don't want to watch this. I I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack. I don't know how they're gonna do this. He picked the umbrella.
Umbrella. I know.
Once they put the shapes on the walls, I was like, oh my god, they're really about to do this game. And like my nieces and nephews don't know it. And I was like, you don't understand. It's gonna be a horrible game. And I explained it to them, and they're like, oh no. He was like, I picked the umbrella because my mom, like, come on. Now look at you. Look at yourself. You picked the umbrella. No, like, it is probably because I always watched, they always did that in Running Man as, like, one of the competitions. And
Yeah.
it never worked well. Because it would always break for people. And I'm like, how are they going to do this? I was like, everybody, there's going to be 8 people left. I don't know. That's the one that really just, I couldn't sit still. I couldn't sit still for that one. Because it's the unknown for me. I don't know. You can't control a honeycomb. The honeycomb's gonna do what it wants to
what
do.
he wants to do.
That's how I felt. I was like, it's like Mother Nature. You can't control her. It's gonna do what she wants. But yeah, it was that one. And I guess the marble game. That one
The
wasn't.
marble
That
the
wasn't
marble game was like,
anxiety. That was
yeah.
like. That was just.
That
It
was a
was
point
messed
in the
up.
show where you knew what was coming next because it had dwindled
Mm-hmm.
down to so few people that I was just like, I really don't want to watch this because like I know what's gonna happen. And then when they split into partners,
Yeah. And
I
they were just going separate ways. I'm like, they all are about to battle with each other.
yeah. As soon as they split into partners, I was like, this isn't a team game, you guys. Why did you do that? Go
And I
find
gotta
someone random.
say,
And I was like so upset over Ollie dying. I was like, that was the
that
worst fucking
was
betrayal ever. Like
it's wow. I gotta say, that was like one of the best scenes because of that betrayal.
yeah,
Like the way Sangwoo was manipulating him, and it was working. It was just you. It was you seeing the friendship that was there turn into just survival, and how I don't. It just sucked. I was like, I can't believe this is
yeah, it
happening.
just it was really well acted and really well written and really
Hmm.
well done, but it like majorly sucked. And I after they showed like Ollie's like backstory, I was just like, oh fucking hell, this is like the worst outcome ever. I feel terrible. This isn't even fair. And it was one of those things like I told you at the start of the episode. Like I knew everybody was gonna die, but I can't help that I like got attached to the characters and to see that betrayal go on like right in front of you and Ollie, who doesn't know like the Korean culture very well, to just like have it happen. I was just like, this fucking sucks.
It was great. in the worst ways. Like, it was,
Yeah,
oh my god, because you
it
think
was
back
amazing
to,
in the absolute most terrible ways.
yeah, you think, because you're just like, wow, like they escaped the game the first time, had their little chat before, and they were getting close, and it seemed like
And
Samu
on
was,
top of it, too, Ollie was just like a very selfless person. Like when Gihyun in the first game, Red Light, Green Light,
oh
almost tripped
yeah,
and fell.
he was so
He,
cool and held on to
yeah,
him.
he held on. He didn't need to do that though. Like, what made him save Gihyun? Like, why?
Well, it just goes to show that if he survived that game, he probably would have been the winner.
Yeah,
Between, if it wasn't like, if the main character wasn't the main character, it would have been him that won,
yeah,
because he was the only other genuinely
good
selfless and
person
good person.
that was there. Yeah.
Yeah. And gosh, that was crazy. And then, oh my god, the dementia in that marble game, I almost cried.
Oh yeah,
I
that was.
I was
I
like,
felt
you,
bad for Gihyun too because he was just so like anxious that entire time because if they both didn't play, they were both gonna die. Like,
and it
but
was
but
just
the
really
dementia
messed
was
up
just yeah,
mentally, because you took care of this, you've been taking care of this old man, and you're ultimately responsible for killing. Like, that was the biggest, and then that was like the biggest mental battle. The biggest, I just know you were screwed up from that point on. Like, your brain is just not, you're not the same person anymore after that, because you can be as nice as you want to and as selfless as you can be, but in that moment.
I think that's what really messed him up too. It wasn't even the
Mm-hmm.
games to begin with. Like, I think if it hadn't been for the old man, if he had won the game and come out of it, he probably would still be like selfless and a good person like he is, but I think
Mm-hmm.
he would have like used the money, whereas the fact that is under the impression that he killed the old man, I think that's another turning point of why he didn't use the money at the start because he knows that he had a hand in like this person's death that he was essentially protecting and helping this entire
Mm-hmm.
time.
But even before knowing that Ilnam was the one of the VIPs, I was like, oh my god, if no one picked him, he would have been safe.
Yeah, because like that woman
Me,
that I
Mio,
absolutely despise,
I
Miyoung, I
hated
think.
her. She
I
did great acting, because I did not like
Yeah,
her at
I
all.
despised her. She's really good at her job. I hated her, and like every time she spoke, I was just like, please just shut up.
But guess, I just knew when she was trying to manipulate her way into, was it the second game? Was it the second? When she was just trying to make alliances the first time when she first started, I was she was crazy. It was when she was begging to get out the game, and she was like, I have a newborn baby, I didn't even write the name down, blah blah blah. And then you, after a while, you knew that wasn't true at all. And I was like, this girl is crazy. And then
Yeah,
then she had sex with what's his name, Doksu.
that
And I
one
was like, oh,
gangster
she about to
dude,
kill
the
you because she's
Duxu.
crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't. When that happened, I was like, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but she is going to kill you,
That was like the
and
most.
she did in the best way.
And she
Yeah,
did. That was the that was the most satisfying. Yeah, that was the most
talk
satisfying
about
thing
redeemable.
in one of the most satisfying things in the show. Maybe not the most satisfying, but
Mm-hmm.
I was just like I've hated her up until this point and like now she and like a part of me was just like I'm glad she's dead, but at the same time that's kind of a bummer cuz she took him out too and he deserved it, but
She was crazy
I
anyway.
wish there could have been like a little bit of at the end like a celebration for her cuz she just did so well there. I hated him and I hated her, but like the way she went out with him,
It was deserved.
that was just really good. Yeah, it was well deserved and it
Oh,
was really good.
just a lot of great characters in general.
There were a lot of people were just really well written too, and I like how there was a good handful of people and their backstories that they showed. They only showed the ones that were like really important that you kind of needed to know.
And they
They
didn't
didn't try and
just,
make it overbearing with a bunch of like information.
yeah. I didn't, because I don't
I
like stuff like
I
that.
did feel bad for the marble game. Like I
Hmm.
said, that one was such a turning point that it was just like you
Yeah,
knew
that
what
was,
was going to happen.
that
I
game
felt
sucks.
I felt bad for the husband and wife duo.
Hmm. And he was just like, "What are we all doing? Still playing the game? Let's quit now." I'm like, "Bro, where are you
Yeah.
going back to?
Yeah, what are you going?
What
And
are you going back to?
Song was said the same thing. He was like, "What are you going back to?" I was like, "You should have thought of that
You
before."
literally killed your wife, and you think leaving the
Is
game?"
gonna do anything?
Yeah, that's why I'm
It's gonna
silent.
help
And then you know
anything?
what? He hung himself, and I was like, I get it. I honestly get it because I would have done the same. If that person was like literally all I had, and it you were both struggling that much to both enter the game like that, what else do you have?
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
and even if he did win, now what?
Yeah, now what? What's at the end? There's nothing at the end.
Mm-mm. Man. And then, oh my gosh, it was just when they started fighting
Oh yeah, that like night thing
that
that
night when they started fighting and they did not stop them the first time. I was like, this is just all a mental game. And you starved them on purpose so that they could do stuff like that, and it was
that was
wild.
just insane.
Mm-hmm.
That was I was telling people that I've been recommending this too after seeing that like fight scene. This has such a mix of I don't know if you ever read in high school literature or English classes the short story The Most
We
Dangerous
didn't
Game.
have to read
Okay. I don't know why we did, but it basically was this famous published game hunter, big game hunter, gets stranded on an island that another big game hunter has like turned into his domain essentially.
that. Mm-hmm.
And the island is really well known for getting like shipwrecks on it. And this guy who lives on the island got bored with hunting big game essentially. And so he gives the people that are shipwrecked a chance to live if they can survive against him hunting them on his island.
Oh, that sounds
And
like some video games I used to watch. You know, apocalyptic where people end up turning on each other.
yeah. And so it had like themes of that it reminded me of because what happens at the end is the guy that got shipwrecked is actually the one that like kills the other dude and like lives through it.
Mm-hmm.
But it reminded me of that, and then it also reminded me of kind of Lord of the Flies, especially the night where everybody just started fighting and they like purposely starved them.
Mm-hmm.
All of the like just murder and bloodshed that took place, and like there was no law at that point, reminded me of Lord of the Flies and Alice in Borderland. It has a lot of themes from Alice in Borderland as well.
Well, I didn't read any of those. I didn't have to because I
Well, the
didn't want to
first
do AP. Lord of the Flies, that was a requirement for a lot of people. And no,
the
I just
last
really
one,
wanted to
Alice
know.
in Borderland, is
Isn't that the Japanese? Is that a Japanese
yeah,
one? Well,
that's
that's what I
it's
thought
a
too.
Japanese one. Yeah.
I was on my list, but I was watching it. I was like, this is looking like. I feel like both of these are one of the same, even though I never watched the other one. But I didn't read those books, but it was definitely it was just interesting to see how humans can be.
Well,
I mean, that's how humans are. That's
that's
how,
why it reminded me book wise of those two things because it was more of a like the theme of the book and the themes of the show and like humans and their choices and like greed playing into it. That's what it
in the
reminded
ripple
me. And like
effects. How
and survival too. That just reminded me. That's why it reminded me of the books.
yeah, it was just it just takes one. It literally just took one, and everyone lost it. Like no one just I don't know. It was just great. I just like mental. mental games like that where you are it's very, I think it's not too obvious that it's happening, but this is why I like thrillers that make you think, or it makes you aware of how people will act, even if you don't think you would ever act that way. You would. Like if
Yeah.
that happened, what in the world would you do? You would fight to survive because you don't know, you have so many people after you for reasons unknown to you. And then it's like the moment they found out, oh, we can kill people for more money. All right, let's end this game faster.
And just start trying to murder everybody.
Mm-mm. That was cool. I don't know. It was a great show. I mean, this is a great show, great series for that. Anything else?
I liked the plot twist with Junho. Is that his name? Junho.
Really? I mean, I saw it
I
coming.
saw it coming too, but his whole storyline was super cool. I was upset that he died even though I saw it coming, just because he like snuck in
Honestly, I don't know
so
how he made it
easily.
that far. I do
Yeah,
not know how he made it that far.
he made it so freaking far. He snuck in so seamlessly.
Like no one saw the van rocking back and forth like that on the
Yeah,
boat.
right?
Like nobody saw that. That's just okay. And you changed him, so you know what? Sometimes you don't need the question.
And not
Jump
only
cut.
that, like imagine how much training all of those like soldiers and minions went through, and he still made it to the point where like no one there were couple people suspicious of him, like the person in the room next door was always suspicious of him,
But you know
but like
why? You know why he was only suspicious of him? Because they were trafficking organs. That was the only reason why he was worried.
oh, was that his same partner?
I think it was.
Oh, I didn't realize that that was the
I
partner.
don't know why else it would not be him.
True. But it was still the one person, and that one person couldn't even turn him in or say anything because they were trafficking the organs. So it's like, well,
Exactly.
he would have been at risk too for being in trouble.
And then after you find out you don't even have to talk. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Be
it was
silent.
just it was just one of those things though where I was just like, he snuck in so well and made it so far. I liked that little mini plot that was going on in the midst of.
I wish his lasted longer. That was just my thing. I get why it was
Yeah,
short. Like
yeah.
he ultimately got his answers. He got his answers. That was your brother.
I'm very curious what would have happened if his brother.
Answered the question.
Yeah,
Me too. I was like, if he answered that question, he probably would have broke. Would have snapped out of he would have snapped out of it. I don't know. He's not under a trance or anything, but that would have really made him humanize himself and realize what he was doing was crazy.
yeah.
Because why are you doing it?
And like I feel like he was still human enough because after Junho like fell to his death, you could see that there was some regret afterward, like a very little bit of
Oh
regret.
yeah, but he sucked that up.
Yeah, real fast. But it was just I wonder how it would have gone if he would have answered the question. Like there's just this part of me that's like, what kind of turn would this story have taken?
I
Like,
just
would
believe.
they let him finish the games? Because there's also the rule of you're never allowed to show your face to anybody. Like, you can't take your mask off. So, like, would the front man have been booted out and, like, killed? Would.
Well, they obviously didn't do anything about it.
Well, because the person that saw his face died, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, I just felt like that was like, well, I don't know.
For me,
It was fine.
the only reason the front man didn't get in trouble was because the person who saw his face ended up dying.
Yeah,
So
that's what.
there
I mean, that makes sense.
so that's now I'm like, well, what would have happened for the question of like What if he had answered the question and the brother didn't die? What would happen to the front man in all of this?
They would have been like, they both gotta go out. They probably would have shot them both, if I'm being honest. They just didn't seem like the people that would hesitate with stuff like that. I mean, they weren't hesitating at all throughout this whole series. They were doing their job.
True.
They wouldn't have flinched. They would have been like, oh, okay, we can see what's happening. So it's been nice working with you, but you both are gonna go over the cliff. It's been fun, whatever this is. But I gotta go back to work. But we were talking about how at the very beginning, what is that game? What is the game called? Where you slap the paper on the ground.
Oh, I don't remember.
But the colors symbolized what they were going to do. If he picked red, he probably would have been one of the workers.
No.
Why not?
That I saw that theory floating around online and it's not true. If you go back and you watch it, a lot in the videos that they were showing on the screen of the people when they were like, this person has this much debt, this person has this much debt, and they were like introducing the people in the first or second episode. I think it was the second episode. They were flashing the videos of them all playing that game, and there were plenty of other contestants that had chosen the other colors. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a good theory, I thought. Because I don't know how else they would have those workers. How else would they recruit them?
What would be the reason for recruiting them though? Like, are they getting paid?
Yeah, it would be the same thing. They would be able to pay it off. Not at once, but you're essentially working to just pay it off quicker instead of you struggling all the time. And you want to be in the game. And then once you see what's happening in that game, why would you want to be in the game? I would shut up and keep doing my job. So, like, how else would they recruit people that way?
True.
And then there's a ranking system, too, so you can get up in ranks.
Yeah.
So.
True. But unfortunately, that is not a true theory.
Well, don't know how other people are getting recruited, then. Unless it's just ultimately the government controls everything. I don't know. I don't believe that. Because they were just regular people. All of them were everybody was regular, normal people.
Well, even the people that were in the game itself were regular, normal people too.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, no one was really special.
Yeah.
No one was really special at all, except for a VIP. And he was old and had a brain tumor and died. And he had fun. That's all he was like. I had a good time. Thank you so much for having a good time with me. Spend your money. And I'm going to see you when I see you. And that was it.
And then Gi-hyun got upset about it. Because he was like, you killed people
and
you had fun.
I was supposed to kill you. That's what he was mad about. He wasn't. But he did say he wanted to kill him if he won the bet. And he didn't get a chance to.
Nope.
I just don't. I don't know. Like, you're not going to be a killer. You're not. You keep saying that. You keep almost doing things, and you're ultimately not a killer. But it was good. Really good. Told my parents to watch it.
Nice. I don't think my mom would ever watch it. It was...
we watched it in, like, English dub because Kian can't read subtitles that fast.
Oh.
And then we watched the last 2 episodes in Korean with English subs because he fell asleep. And me and the girls were just like, this is so much better. Like, it was good. Like, obviously, because we watched the entire thing. But
yeah,
if I wasn't paying attention, like if I was doing dishes and stuff, I would not be able to differentiate who was talking. That's my only thing. Unless it was like the females that were talking. But at least we watched the last 2 episodes in Korean because that made up for everything. I was like, man, they sound so much better. You guys sound great. Love the native tongue. That's what it's supposed to be.
I completely forgot that Netflix dramas have dubbed versions. And now I'm curious what it sounds like.
You know what? Okay, the workers with the pink outfits, right? I
Yeah.
will say they sounded cooler in English than they did in Korean.
Oh, interesting.
Like they just sounded cooler. I was like, they sounded more intimidating than the
Yeah,
Korean.
in Korean they just kind of sounded disinterested.
They sounded like just robots, kind of.
Well, they also just
You have to listen to it in English, at least for that.
I will. I'm gonna go back and because now I'm curious. Like, what the heck does it sound? What do they sound
I
like?
mean, if you're not, I mean, it wasn't really that great. It was
I'm
good.
not gonna.
It's good
I'm
for
not
it
gonna
to be
re.
dubbed.
I'm not gonna rewatch it in dub.
No,
I'm just gonna
no,
go listen to an episode in dub and figure out what it
no.
sounds
I'm
like.
just saying, like, because we switched it back to Korean because I think it was Junho. Did he say something? He did say something in English. It was when that white man was being a creep to him, and he said something in English, and I was like, change it, go back. I was like, go back and change it to Korean because I gotta hear his actual voice when he says this in English. And we replayed it. I was like, don't go too far back because this is weird. It was like that. It was gross. That whole scene was gross.
Yeah, that scene was.
So we were just like, let's pause it here, go back just a little bit, and then he said it in English, his actual voice, and we were like, you did good, you did
He did. He
good.
did do good.
And then we just watched the rest of it in Korean, and we were all like, wow, this is nice. So much better. But it was. I mean, I didn't really hate it in dub, but I sucked it up. Typically, I'm not a dub. I'm not a dub girl.
Yeah, no, I forget what show. Love Alarm was on Netflix, and that's like one of the first K dramas I watched on Netflix like a couple years ago. And I didn't know that dub was a thing, and
Mm-hmm.
it started playing with it, and I was just like, "What is this? This is disgusting!" And I like changed it.
I think it's good if you don't know Korean
Yeah,
and you
no, it
don't.
definitely is, but it's just one of those things where I was just like, "What is this concept? This is really weird. We're not doing this. Bye."
So I think my parents will do well watching it. It wasn't like I just wasn't paying attention to. This is not matching up. Like that's not what I was paying attention to because people were dying for children's games. And then we
And
thought
children's
so we thought the honeycomb thing was actually gonna be the floor is lava. And that would have
Oh.
been super fun. Well, I mean, it's not fun, but it would have been cool to see that the playground, that was what the playground was for.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Because that's what we thought. And we were
It
like,
was gonna be.
oh my God. That would have been, yeah.
That
And I
would have
was
been a lot
also
more intense.
yeah, and I was also waiting for them to do tag. I was waiting for a game of tag.
That one I couldn't see happening just because they had already done red light, green light.
But it would have been in teams. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. There's different ways you could do tag. There's different ways you could do tag, and I
Yeah.
like having that in teams. But they replaced it with the tug of war because it was like ability, you know. That's what I was thinking of. I was like, they have the old man here, and then you have females, so they're obviously gonna have to do a game that people will look at men as being the stronger ones, or have like be the better teammates. And I was like, that's tag. One of those games is tag or a dodgeball. That would be insane.
Dodgeball would have been. Whoa.
That's all the games that really come to mind for me. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
It was good. I am very surprised that you watched it.
Me too. It was because they wanted to watch it. If I'm being completely honest.
Well, they did really good getting you to watch it too.
And I was like, well, if Kennedy's braiding my hair, then yeah, I do want to just have something on.
Fair enough. Well, that was our discussion of Squid Game.
It was great.
It was
Don't
great.
would like something more. I don't know. It's good. It was good,
It's
guys.
It's definitely got, if you're a younger audience listening to this though, mature themes, so be warned
Oh
of that.
yeah,
People die, so
they
be
show
warned of that.
everything,
And they show absolutely everything.
and they have, you know, a they have a sex scene. So watch it with your parents. If you're the type that's like, oh, I don't want to watch it. It's not Game of Thrones level, but it's there. So don't. I want to watch with my parents. That's all I'm gonna say. It's awkward.
But it's available on Netflix, so if you have Netflix access, just shoot on over there and watch it. It's 9 episodes. It's super.
It's
It's
quick.
so yeah, it's so short for a K drama,
Like you did
but
it in one night.
I did it in 2, and that's only because I had work. So
And we're
it's
braiding hair. So if you have to braid hair, turn it on.
it is
You'll be done.
a very good drama, though. Highly recommended.
Mm-hmm.
Very intense.
What game would you how far would you go? Like how far do you think you would have survived?
I don't know. Maybe it would depends on really the shape and the honeycomb.
I would have picked
I
the
would have not.
triangle so fast.
I would have not known that that's what the game was.
I
So
well, I don't know.
that's
Because if it was in
questionable.
America, I would be more hesitant on picking a shape. Because then I would be like, what the heck is this?
Well, that's what I was thinking the whole time that they were going through, because I've never seen that game before, and I was like,
Oh.
yeah, I'd never seen it on Running Man, so I don't know if I just hadn't watched
Well, if
like
we were together,
episodes
I'd be
with it
like,
in.
girl, they about to do the honeycomb game. You're gonna be like, what? I'm like, it's the game that. And I would explain it
So
to you.
I would have been skeptical anyway, because like that's one of those things where it's like I don't know if I want to choose the shape that's too easy or choose the shape that's too hard, because this just seems sketch as fuck. But assuming that I'd chosen a decent shape like a triangle or a circle, I probably only would have made it to tug of war.
Oh yeah, that tug of war. It's the tug of war and the marble game for me. That marble game is chance. It's
Yeah, the
pure
marble
luck.
game, depending on what game you choose to, it's
It's
pure
luck.
luck. Yeah,
I
so
think I would choose them.
but the tug of war one, it's really just dependent on your team. So,
Mm,
and if you have like a strategy, and even that strategy that they came up with wasn't foolproof, as we saw. They almost lost. They got really close to
but they
losing
literally did the trick I would have told everybody to do.
at the start where they like bent their bodies back.
No, like when you put lax on the rope and they
Oh, yeah, and you
and they
trick and they fall. Yeah.
yes, that's what I would have done. I would have got past tug of war, but the marble
I
one.
still think that one is dependent on your team though, because even if you lax it,
But you only need to win
it's
once
well,
if you
yeah,
have a
because
good
you're
team.
dead afterwards.
Well, I'm saying like I really thought the tug of war game was just like they're gonna keep pitting the teams against each other.
Oh yeah, I did too. I thought that was like the last game, and they were gonna keep pitting people against each other,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, that's why I was so high anxiety. And then I found out they just got to leave after they won, and I was like, whoa.
Well, I would have hoped that like they would have I don't know been a little bit of a stereotype like she's black, put her on the team, and I'm like I got y'all. Woo! And we made it. I got the trick. We gonna do this, and we made it past that. And they're like, pick a partner, and they tell me this is a marble game, and I'm like, well, this is it. So this is, I'm done. That marble game, no, that's it for me. That would be the moment where I'm like, this is it. I don't care anymore. I'm not good with luck stuff. I'd even put the marble in the hole and good luck and pick them up and drop them and toss them and put them in the bag. No. And then honestly, that not. I mean, they didn't really play a game towards the very end. The bridge game. I'm like, I'll
that
go. Oh my god! Once I saw all those numbers, I was like, oh jeez.
that one was another high anxiety one, because it was just like they were talking about, someone could hold up
50-50.
the line.
Yeah, and it was 50-50. every step. And I'm like, you don't want to be the first or the last. And you being in the middle didn't really help either.
Nope.
So I think I would have made it past the tug of war. I would have, I don't know, I would have been able to do something.
Maybe not. I'm skeptical.
But that's it. The other games, it's over. Even the red light, green light, like that was crazy to me. Like you could not move at all.
Red
Don't
light,
even
green light,
breathe.
I think I would have been fine for, but I felt bad for those two like dumbass friends at the start that were like, "We got this," and then the other one got shot just because he freaked the fuck out. Like I don't even blame him for it, but I'm just like, that
Once I saw
sucks.
that time limit, I was like, oh my god, I gotta get over the line by that time too. I wouldn't have. You know what? I'm just thinking back to that moment and how everyone's freaking out and running back towards the door and pushing other people over, and then those people would have to be shot too because
Yeah.
they moved, and that was just really. I'd have been so mad. My last feeling of life would be anger because somebody.
Because somebody pushed. I'm so fucking pissed. I'm about to get
I
shot.
was following the rules, and then Nicole pushed me to go to the door that's locked that we obviously can't escape from. But you know what? I'm in heaven now, so
I'm in
whatever.
heaven now. It doesn't matter.
I'm a little upset, but all right. That's how I feel. But okay, I'm gonna stop talking. I could
We
talk
could
about
probably,
random
yeah, I
stuff
was gonna say, well, we
forever.
could go on about this for a decent amount more of time, I think. This is just.
And don't catch me in a depressive episode because I don't care. Let's go. What's the next game? What's the next game? Let's go. Let's go. I don't care. That's what we were talking about too. We thought it was funny. That's what I mean. I guess dark humor, whatever. Like, oh, you caught me on the right day. What are we doing?
Let's go.
Let's go. Tug of war. It don't matter. Hopefully, there's something else on those lines that we'll get in the future. Show wise, it was nice seeing some familiar faces. I will say
Yeah, when I will say when Frontman took off his mask, I don't want to spoil it too much for people, but when Frontman took off his mask, I was just like,
I know him.
yeah, but I was like, what the heck are you doing in this drama? I was
Really?
just so I was just so surprised. I haven't seen him in a drama in ages, and he took off his mask, and
Oh.
I like had an out of body experience of like, what are you doing here?
I
And
told
then when Gong Yu showed up in the first episode, I was so excited. I was like, what is Gong Yu
he
doing
kept
here?
popping up on TikTok, and I don't read hashtags like that. But when I saw the subway, I was like, oh, he's in this series, and I was like, he's so fine.
Yeah.
It's just the joy watching you slap the shit out of
someone.
a character. Like, I just love your face. A lot of the men here, majority of the men, fine. All of them are very attractive. It was a joy. Great job. But the front man, I was like, oh, that's I don't know him, but I've seen him in plenty of other shows or just know enough about him where I'm like, this is perfect for him. You look like a front man.
You're right, he does. I was just still so surprised. I was like, what is he doing here? And after seeing Gong Yu and then getting to the end and seeing him, I was just like, what is this drama?
It's kind of, it makes you think about, like, in America, it's the same thing. Like, it just shows I guess not elite status, like the status of the actor, you know? Where you're like, oh my god, you're in a Netflix series. It's that feeling for me when I saw them. I'm like, you're in a Netflix series. I thought you were just cool in it because you just being cool and calm and doing whatever you want because you have all the money because you've done so much already and you've done a great job. And you were just like, I'm gonna go in this Netflix series just for a little fun. That's what I felt when I saw Frontman. I'm like, look at you, showing your face.
That
was great.
It. Yeah, it was. Thank you for listening to us just ramble about Squid Game for this long.
I'm not really sorry about all over the place. Whatever.
Yeah, this is the first time we've talked about a drama, and it'll probably be the only time. So I'm not sorry that there was no structure to this episode at all. But I hope you guys will rate, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Tell us if you watched Squid Game. Tell us what games you enjoyed the most and
which one would you survive. Which one would be your last game?
Up until what point would you survive? Yeah. Let us know.
Yes. You know what? Once people started like beating each other up with the strobe lights, I think I would have died.
Actually, right? Yeah, we wouldn't have actually made it past that portion.
I was like, this is a lot. That's my last comment.
Thank you for listening, though.
Bye, guys.
Bye.